Welcome everyone to this ClickCreate Curator Spotlight. This month we have Pulp Noir Tales, curated by Bryan Brinkman. What was the inspiration for this curation's theme?
Kind of the theme around this drop is this idea of pop noir kind of worlds, and I looked at these three artists, and where I saw a linkage is in kind of the darker tones of their work. They all kind of play with these ideas of mystery and murder and femme fatales and kind of playing with emotions and human stories. And so I looked at these three artists as, even though they're stylistically very different, playing in totally different mediums, they're all kind of playing on the same themes. And so I think that kind of links them all together nicely.
What narrative do you hope to convey with this curation?
I hope that this combination of work conveys a bigger idea about how digital art can be used in storytelling, and how, it's using motion and kind of digital artifacts mixed with some traditional ideas like illustration and photography and film and all this other stuff. And even A.L. Crego's work uses slit scan technique, which is a film technique that's been used since the 70s. Like every single frame of it is stuttered a second, and it creates this kind of slow effect. And so I love that all of these artists are kind of combining the past and the present to make digital art that feels futuristic.
How did you select this month's artists?
Looking at artists that I think have kind of solidified their style, ones that appeal to me, whether it's kind of illustration or animation or photography and video. All these artists kind of embody things that I enjoy creating. And so I looked at who, in my mind, were these kind of artists that have been around for a while, or they're new, that have developed a style that I think is totally their own. Part of the fun of this drop is exposing the general audience of the space to new artists. And I'm hoping we can help elevate more artists, and I'm just really excited to see what these artists bring to the table and what kind of new collectors they might find through this ClickCreate community.
How does Louis combine mediums to tell a story?
I chose Louis because I think his work is stunning. I look at it and it gives me this kind of 1980s noir film poster vibe. And so every time I see the work, I'm drawn into a bigger story from it. And so usually you see like neon lights, you see a female figure in the shadows, and then often you see some other elements of like roads or snow or rain or all these other things. Just that simple combination feels like the start of a bigger story. And so I love the way he's combining photography and animation to build these little snippets of storylines.
How does A.L. draw you into his artistic world?
A.L. is an artist that, he's been in the space longer than myself. He's an OG. I think I first experienced his work in crypto voxels, where you could walk into a room and click a button and it changed the way the entire room looked. And I was blown away by it. Seeing how he's developed certain styles, whether it's repetition or kind of this glitch wavy effects or kind of neon glows with these kind of dark figures. To me, he embodies early crypto art vibes, and every piece he comes out with, I immediately know it's his, and I'm kind of drawn into it.
How does Esra use her style to disarm the viewer?
Esra is an artist that when you see their work, you immediately recognize it. It has this illustration style that almost feels like Where's Waldo, but it's like a murder mystery Where's Waldo. And so you're looking at these worlds and you're seeing awful imagery from car crashes to murdered people to ghosts and all these other things, but it's drawn in such a fun, poppy style that you're immediately disarmed by it. And so I look at that kind of stuff and I see that a parallel to what I've done with kind of my tragic pop vibes. And so I've always really enjoyed her work, and I'm excited to see more people kind of dive into her world.